Greetings everybody, this is Marcus Toole and it is November, I believe it's the 10th, and I am in my home orchard slash food forest. It's kind of late in the day, so the pretty heavy shadow. I want to give a shout out to Whimsy, Dr. Whimsy in California. I think she she does a YouTube program called Broke Aristocrats and Tarot Wednesday. I know on her videos she promotes saving seeds and having a green approach to life and a green approach to agriculture. And so I wanted to give her a shout out, and I want to especially share with her viewers some of the things that a person can do if you have a little bit of a yard. I have about a half acre, which is probably more than most people have, but less than some. It's certainly not a farm. And one of the things I have done is I am turning my yard into a food forest. I have a number of projects going on. In addition to that, I'm trying to preserve a local type of plum that's a very good eating plum, but not one that commercial folks are interested in, and that's the improved Chickasaw. This is a type of plum that was bred by Native Americans prior to the coming of the white man. The varieties were maintained by settlers up until the last 50 or 60 years. With the urbanization of Southern culture, a lot of these varieties are being forgotten, and they're persisting on at old home sites, but they're not being grown by nurseries, which is too bad because they're excellent plums, but they're just too soft for use in commercial use. This is an improved Chickasaw plum. This is one that originated in North Carolina, was moved to Louisiana in the 1860s or 70s in the aftermath of the Civil War, and then persisted on for about 60 years at an abandoned farm site, and then has been reintroduced to horticulture. This tree is going to bloom for the first time this year, so I'm excited to get some plums. They should be about golf ball size red plums, and that's a variety that was rescued from extinction. This is a separate little project. This little plum tree and this little plum tree over here are seedlings. I planted some seeds of a Robusto plum, which is actually a hybrid, and I was going to use the seedlings as rootstock, but two of them look like the Mariana plum, which is another hybrid of a completely different species with just an especially high quality fruit, but they're kind of small. And I wanted to see what those seedlings turn into be, because they might actually turn out to be a really good fruit, because it looks like the Mariana is the pollen parent. This is the Robusto tree. It's kind of a small tree. It's actually the rootstock, which is a peach rootstock, that's making it small. This is the Mariana tree that's right next to it. And this is a hybrid between the Munson plum, which is a North American species, and the cherry plum, which is an Asian, Southwest Asia species. This is actually a Munson plum here. Give you an example of it. They're not particularly good plums, but they give the disease resistance. Robusto is part Chickasaw plum and part Asian plum, part Japanese plum. And so the hybrid between these two, this is one of the ones that makes the real big plums like you see in the grocery store. This is kind of a small plum, but a very delicious plum. So I'm curious to see what the hybrid is going to be like between those two. I have a number of pear trees. That's another one of my projects, is collecting and preserving very good southern varieties of pear and making them locally available. Most of these varieties are kind of hard to get, at least commercially. Some of them are available online at specialty fruit online nurseries, and some of them are just available through collectors. Now I call this a food forest because as these trees mature, it's going to become much more forest-like and less lawn-like as time goes on. But really, a food forest is also a forest that's multi-layered. And so I have the huckleberry bushes, which this is a native blueberry species, and so they're multi-layered, and then that will be sort of the understory. I have some of the Japanese persimmons. Those will also become medium-sized trees and small trees. And so it's going to be a multi-layered and also multi-species. No one species, you have lots of different species in a compact area rather than all the same species. So it's not a monoculture, and that gives it sort of the food forest feel, as it, you know, every tree is something totally different. In my yard, everything's planned out so that I have fruit all year round. These are loquats. These fruits will ripen when they get old enough to produce fruit. Will ripen in early spring. The latest fruit in the fall, of course, are the citrus, which are here on the south side of the house. This looks kind of like a little jungle, but this is actually my pepper patch. They are